Hey guys, welcome to this video. Today I have built this Instagram Parasite system which can help you grow from 0 to 10,000 followers in 2 or 3 months. I have built this for myself and for any aspiring or established social media creator who would like to fast track their research process and get to creating content as much as they can. This works on four different workflows: competitor analysis, comment analysis, social listening, and industry keyword research. Before getting into this workflow, I would just like to take a moment and explain exactly why I decided to build this Instagram Parasite system. So I'd been searching for these kind of systems on YouTube, and majority of the creators who've created this Instagram Parasite system have used only two research methods. The first is this competitor analysis, and the second is comment analysis. Don't get me wrong, this is a really good strategy to start out because you are already modeling your content after what has already worked for other creators in your niche. But that also means you are creating content for the algorithm. One thing you need to understand is when you're competing with other competitors in your niche, they will be having different positioning, they'll be having different audiences that are viewing their reels. So not necessarily all those audiences might like your content. And so for that purpose, you also need to be creating content for humans and not just algorithms. And the social listening and industry keyword research workflows here, these workflows will exactly help you do that, because these workflows basically take into account the problems, frustrations, and daily issues that your target audience faces and create content angles based on those data received. In the industry keyword research, we'll be using Google Trends to analyze what keywords are being searched in your niche and then create content angle ideas. So that way you can differentiate yourself amongst the competitors in your niche and stand out really well. Without further ado, let's get back to the workflow. The first thing is we'll be running the competitor analysis. I'll just click on execute workflow. You can see this Instagram Parasite system form has popped up and you need to enter the competitor URLs. So I've shortlisted a few profiles. Just add them one by one here. I have designed this entire system for fashion content creators, and I'll be explaining about that detail as we move forward to the different prompts that are being used. You can model this in your ways. You can just change the prompts to suit your requirements. So let's get ahead. Just click on submit. I've added three URLs here. You can add as many as you want. Once you click the submit button, you can see the competitor analysis workflow has started. First is the if node, which acts like a gatekeeper. It will check if the competitor URLs section in the form was filled, and if it was, it will move forward. You can see one item has passed. This is basically a single string which contains all the three URLs that we added. The code node's job here is to separate all these links. So each link can be run one by one through this Apify actor. Now the job of this Apify actor is to scrape the reels of each of the profiles that we have given it, right? The resource will be actor, the operation will be run as actor, and this is the particular Instagram API scraper that I'm talking about. This is what I have used. You just need to go to JSON and click on copy here. Before you do that, make sure you do the settings here. You need to define exactly what you want to scrape from each page. We have selected scrape profile reels, and newer than means you're going to set a time frame. So I just want the latest reels for each from each of these profiles. So I've selected the last 30 days, right? Relative the last 30 days. And since we've already copied, you can just go back to this actor, click here, and paste all that data here, and ensure that in the direct URL section you replace all the links with this competitor URL value. You just drag and drop here and you're good to go. Now we've received three items here, and you can see the get dataset items is running now. The main job of this get dataset items is to extract all the scraped data. So we'll just wait for a few seconds until it gets okay. So this is run. So now you can see the input that we've got here. We just need to add the dataset ID, type dataset, and you can see the default dataset ID. Just drag and drop it here, and you'll be good to go. Then we move to the update comparator analysis sheet. Now we need to update all the scrape data into this sheet here, right? The first thing that you need to do here is select a few reels which you further want to send for transcription. Now let's say I'll select this one. I'll just put an S, and then I'll select this one as well. So numbers 2 and 4 have been selected, right? Now I'll just explain exactly how this part of the workflow is working. The reason why we added this Google Sheet here is because we want a human in the loop. We want you to understand exactly how things are working, what sort of reels are being scraped, and you can check that from here when the reels are uploaded to the sheet. Some reels out of these will be sent into transcription. You can send all of them into transcription as well. Okay, that's completely up to you, but then this will cost you really heavy because the transcript API actor is really expensive. So for that purpose, you can just check out all of these reels based on their total views and total likes, or even watch them. If you like any particular reel and you feel like, I want to model my content after this reel, so you can just add this in front of the selected reel and you're good to go. Now in the next node, what happens is we are waiting. So this is a wait node that I've added. Like this is just 5 minutes, and in this amount of time you have to go to the sheet and check out all these reels and make your selections, right? When this wait node is over, only those reels that were selected from that sheet will be called by this next Google Sheet node. You can configure it as it is. The operation will be get rows here, and the filters will be selection column, and the value is S, right? So let's just wait for some time before the selected rows are retrieved by this Google Sheet. All right, so you can see the wait node is done, and the get rows sheet node has retrieved the rows that we selected. You can see it here, row number 3 and row number 5. Let's check which ones had we selected. Yes, this one, row number 3 and the row number 5. So yeah, in the next stage, now these two links have been sent to the transcription node. This is how the transcription node looks, right? The operation will be run an actor, the resource will be actor again, and this is the Apify actor in question that I'm running. Here you need to make your settings first. Just add any video URL link here and then go to JSON and copy this. Once you've copied, come back here into the input JSON section, paste it, and then replace the video URL with this reel link value. Just drag and drop, and you're good to go. And one more thing to take into account for this particular Apify actor is make sure the memory is 32 GB, because when you run it at 1 GB, this actor tends to crash even after transcripting only one reel. So when it comes to multiple reels, it requires more memory, and that's precisely why we made that setting. And then in the get dataset items, again, you just have to add the dataset ID as I showed earlier, right? Then we come to the script analyzer node. The objective of this script analyzer node is to analyze the input text that it has received, right? The input transcript that it has received. So the prompt here in the user section will be text json.source underscore transcript.text. You can just write transcript and drag this here and paste it. Then let's look at the prompt. This is a pretty simple prompt, and the role and mission of this prompt is like, you are an Instagram script analyst specializing in fashion and lifestyle content. Analyze the provided script details and deliver one single written report, only one JSON entity, no multiple data blocks. So what this is going to do is, for each transcript that has received, it will create a detailed report with the instructions added to this prompt. This is for a fashion content creator. This entire workflow has been created from the point of view of a fashion content creator. You will need to change these details if you want to use this for your purpose and your niche, right? And then simplify output and output content as JSON, both switches should be on. Then you go to the update row in sheet. Again, now these transcripts and the script analysis for the selected reads will be updated in the Google Sheet, so you can check output that the ChatGPT mode is creating. This is in Spanish because the reel itself was in Spanish, so we've received the transcript accordingly. You can also see how it has automatically translated this script analysis into English and then given us an analysis, right? So once that is done, you just have to match the rows here for updating the sheet. Then you move to the competitor analysis angle. So again, we will be using the GPT 4.1 mini model, right? And the input prompt will be really simple. The whole idea of this competitor angle generator is to generate angles out of the script analysis and the transcript. Plus, we will also be sending all these values since we might need them in the future. Now coming to the main prompt here, the whole idea of this prompt is to create excellent content angles that you can use as your research to create your own content. The main part of this entire prompt is the ideal consumer profile here. So as I had suggested earlier, this is for a fashion content creator, right? Now the ideal consumer profile is also designed from the point of view of a fashion content creator, and you need to add this ICP in this entire AI agent. If you don't do that, your content angles might not be the quality angles that you're looking for. Make sure you add your own ideal consumer profile. If you don't know exactly how to make this, you can go to ChatGPT and add a simple prompt, tell it exactly what sort of content you create, and ask it to create an ideal consumer profile for you. So you just take that and paste it here, right? The objective of this AI agent is to create 3 content angles per selected idea. So since we have selected 2 ideas since the beginning, it will create in total 6 content angles, 3 for each idea. Simplify output will be turned on, but you don't need to turn on output content as JSON for this particular AI agent. You can also use options like frequency penalty, presence penalty, and temperature, because these will help you modify the output that the AI agent creates. These are just some best practices that I have used, and you can stick to them. Then we go to the create report section. Now we have received all the angles, we've received all the content here. All the angles are in this field value called content. And now we need to create a sample report that will be really well formatted so it is easily readable and can be pasted on a Google Doc. Now let's look at the prompt here. It's a really simple prompt. You don't need to change anything here. Just take your content value and add this here in the input, right, in front of the report. The output format will be in JSON, right? As you see, output content is JSON, and simplify output as well. So that's pretty much the gist about this AI agent. The operation will be messenger model, and the source will be text. At the output, this has created 2 different reports for 2 of the selected content pieces, right? And now we have the markdown node here. From this stage, these 4 nodes will be common in each workflow, and the aim of these nodes is to get this created report onto a Google Doc. Okay, so the markdown node here, the mode will be markdown to HTML, since the report that we have created in the previous node was in the markdown format, and to paste it to Google Doc, we need to convert it into a HTML format. So the markdown will be the markdown field will be filled with this report value here, and then the destination key will be data. In the next field, we have the set fields node. Now here we are going to add a few fields like the document name and the drive folder ID. So the document name will be the name of the document that will be created. You can name this in any manner you deem fit. I have named it the competitor analysis angles report. And then the HTML content will be the actual report, which is here you have received from the markdown. So just drag and drop it here. And the drive folder ID is where you will be selecting the Google Drive folder in which the Google Doc will be created. So I'll show you exactly how to do that. Just go to a Google Drive that you want to create, in which you want to create the Google Doc, and then from the slash after this folders word, just select and copy this. So this is your Google Drive folder ID, and just paste it here, and you're good to go. So once this gets executed, you have the code node again. So now we need to use an HTTP request at the end. For that purpose, we need to prepare a request to send to Google Docs, and the code node will be doing that job. I've already added this code here, so you can use it as it is, and the mode should be run once for all items, right? And in the next and the last node, it will be create Google Doc. This is an HTTP node, right? The method will be post, and the URL will be your Google Docs API. That will be the URL you have to insert here. Then credential type will be Google Drive. You have to select your Google Drive account here. You need to configure all these accounts beforehand. If you don't have, you can basically search on YouTube. You can have these accounts configured before you start working with this workflow. Then the send query parameters will be switched on, and under these there will be two query parameters. The first is upload type, and the value is multipart. The second is supports all drives, and the value is true. Then the send body will also be switched on. The body content type will be raw. The content type will be multipart slash related, colon boundary is equal to divider, and the body will be the raw data that you've received from the code node. Just drag and drop it here. When you run this, the two reports have already been created. You must have seen it here. These are the two reports that were created, and we'll just view it. This is the report. You can see it is well formatted and contains different kinds of sections for each of the content angles created. Description, why it works, text and visual hook ideas, call to action, pro editing notes, etc. So it has taken that reel as the base and created content angles around it for your ideal consumer persona that we already saw added in the prompts in the AI agents, right? And you can see it has created in total 3 content angles for this reel, and this is for the second reel. Yes, so this is much clearer. It also has views and likes, and this is how it looks. So now you can just go and read this report and understand exactly what sort of content you can make by analyzing the reels of your competitors, and use these angles to create your original content. So that's all for this workflow. And now next workflow will be the comment analysis workflow. So let's move on to it. All right, the next workflow is comment analysis, and the sole purpose of this workflow is to analyze the comments that you get on your reels and derive content angles out of that. So that way you're ensuring your audience is heard, and it will also help you boost engagement because you are going to create content directly out of the queries, suggestions, and doubts that your audience is asking of you. So let's get forward with the workflow. I'll just click on the execute workflow button here. The same submission form pops up here, and you need to enter your Instagram account URL in the comment analysis field. This is not my URL because I don't have an active Instagram account, but I'm entering this to show you how this works. Let's click on submit, and now you can see this is passing through the if node, which works exactly like it did in the competitor analysis workflow. It worked as a gate, right? It will see if this value exists in the comment analysis and then pass it through. And now we are into the reel scraper, the Happify node. The particular Happify actor we are using here is Instagram reel scraper. It is trustworthy because it is managed by Happify and easy to configure. You just have to configure the maximum reels per profile that you want. So let's say if you want to derive comments from the latest 10 reels on your profile, right? So you just add that number here and then go to JSON and then select and copy, come back to the workflow and just paste it here in the input JSON. Now you need to change the username value here, enter the JSON value of comment analysis because this is what you have received from the if node, and this contains the actual link that you want to scrape, right? So once this is done, go to the extract reuse data, right? This is just similar to computer analysis again. I'll just enter dataset ID, drag and drop it here, and you're good to go. Next, we have the separate comments node here. Now, the whole reason for adding this node is because if you can see in the left, you can just enter comments here, and you can see there's this field called latest comments, and there are a lot of other comments just branched under it, right? So you can see latest comments 0, and then latest comments 1, and so on. So we need to separate all these comments, right? For that purpose, the code node exists because this will help you separate all those comments. We have received 100 items here after 10 items from the Apify node, right? Now we use the aggregate node here. The reason being, we need to collate all these comments into a single group, because if you keep analyzing each comment one by one, it will be really messy and it won't make sense. So we are just collating all those comments here. You can see all these comments. In the aggregate field, choose individual fields and the input field name text. This is the value that we're getting from the code node, and then it has been collated into one group, one item, and passed to the comment analyzer node. The main job of this AI agent is to analyze all the comments and take out patterns. The task of this AI agent is to analyze the comments and identify key audience patterns across three categories. The first is things you're doing well, the second is things the audience doesn't like, and the third is things the audience is looking for. You can use this prompt as it is and it will work fine for you. Ensure that you require a specific output format here, and you need to add an output parser here and define exactly how the output should look like. As we have defined, there'll be three fields: things you're doing well, things the audience doesn't like, and things the audience is looking for. All right. So you also have to connect the OpenAI chat model. Here we are using GPT-5 mini. The reason being, GPT-5 is better in terms of reasoning, and since we are analyzing stuff here, that's why reasoning is necessary, and hence GPT-5 mini is my choice here. Next, you go to the node again, and you can see we've received the three analysis sections. In the next node, that is the update Google Sheets node, we'll just be updating all these sections into this Google Sheet. You can see the comment analysis. This is how it looks. All three sections have been updated. Now this particular step exists so that you can check exactly what sort of output the AI agent is producing. If you don't like this, you can always go back to the AI agent prompt and change it according to the way you like it. The mapping is pretty simple. Then we have the comments angle generator node. The main job of this entire AI agent is to generate comment angles out of the analysis that we've done. So you can see this time we have the GPT 4.1 model. You can go for higher models if your wallet permits, because using higher models means you are going to spend more money. And for example purposes, I have used GPT 4.1, but I would love using GPT 5.1 mini or GPT 5 as well for this purpose. Now coming to the input prompt, we're going to use the three sections as the inputs. As you can see, we'll be deriving this from the Google Sheets node. In the system prompt, you can see this is a very detailed prompt that I've written. You need to change the ideal consumer profile here, like we did in the competitor analysis workflow. You need to enter your own ICP to get angles that will cater really well to your ideal consumer, right? Once that is done, ensure that you are switching on simplify output, and then go to the create comment angles report. The skeleton of the workflow is pretty much same as we saw in the competitor analysis workflow. The job of this particular AI agent is to create well formatted report out of the content angles that were generated in the previous node, right? So this is the content that we have. We just add it in this prompt here as the input. Just drag and drop it here. The prompt is pretty simple. So once this runs, it will create the report, and you also have to ensure that simplify output and output content as JSON tabs are clicked on, switched on, right? So once this is done, you have this one report coming in, and now the remaining four of these nodes are designed to create a well formatted Google Doc like what we saw in the previous workflow, right? The only change here will be in the set node. You need to change the document name since these are angles coming from the comment analysis. So I have named it the comment angles report. You can name it as you like, and rest everything else will be the same. Now let's check out the report. So yeah, we have the comment angles report here, and if you double click on this, we have received a similar Google document, very well formatted with all the details that we had asked for. This particular comment angle generator has been programmed to create 5 angles out of the entire analysis. So you can change the number here as you want, or you can just go forward with this. So that's pretty much about the comment analysis. Now, next, the social listening workflow will be something interesting. So let's move to that. So the next workflow that we have is social listening. And this workflow uses Reddit as a base reference for scraping the posts and analyzing them to create new content angle ideas for your Instagram audience. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this video, social listening is a really great way to catch the exact pulse of your audience and to understand what sort of pain points, problems, or frustrations they are discussing. And then you can use that as a base reference to create new content angle ideas, right? And create quality content. So without further ado, let's move forward. I will click on the execute workflow button here, and this pops up the form. So just click on yes under social listening research and click on submit. Now you can see the workflow is started, and the if node acts as a gate like it did in the previous workflows as well. Then we have the data tables node renamed as get subreddits. Now, the reason why we need the data tables is because we want to store the names of the subreddits from which we are going to scrape the posts. So this is how this data table looks like, and these are the subreddits from which this workflow will be scraping the posts. Now, in order to choose them, you just have to go to Reddit and ensure that you are a part of these subreddits already. If not, better join them, and then just select this name of the subreddit like this, leave the r and slash out, and copy and paste it here. So likewise, you can create a database of all the subreddits that you would like to use in this research, right? And then go back here, and the resource should be row, operation should be get, must match can be any condition, and the limit should be 5. So this means that at a time of running the workflow, it will consider only 5 subreddits, right? You can increase or decrease this according to your liking. The data table should be same as what is mentioned here. Make sure you match it perfectly. And then in the next node, we have the get post from subreddits. This is where exactly the scraping happens. So the resource should be post, operation should be search, location should be subreddit, and then in the subreddit field, make sure you drag and drop this subreddit's value here. All right, so the next part is keywords, and this is exactly where you enter keywords or the topics around which you want to scrape the posts from these subreddits. I've entered 2 keywords here: fast fashion and luxury brands. And then this Reddit node will get all the posts containing these keywords. As you can see, we have received 15 items here, and then you just move on to the next node, that is the post classifier. Now, the whole purpose of this classifier is to attach a classification value to each of the posts that were scraped in the previous nodes, right? By classification, I mean this node will classify each or analyze each of these posts and determine if they have a particular problem, pain point, or any frustration that is being discussed, right? I'll just take you to the prompt so you'll understand better. So yeah, analyze each incoming post from the R subreddit and tell me if there is a concrete problem, pain point, or frustration being discussed in that post. For any post that classifies in this criteria, you will mention it as yes. You should only output posts that qualify this criteria, right? So this is what it will do, and this is a simple output in terms of JSON that we need, right? The system prompt is pretty much simple. You just have to include the self text here. The self text is exactly the post that was scraped, right? So just drag and drop it here and you're good to go. And also ensure that you should have this simplify output and output content as JSON, both these switches turned on. You can also use these preset parameters if you like. If you don't do so, that's perfectly fine as well. But I do it because this helps me control the creative and the analytical side of the AI agent, right? Next we have is the qualification criteria, that is the if node. Now, the main job of this if node is to send forward only those posts that have qualified in the classification agent, right? So only the ones that have yes as the classification value will go forward. And also another condition that we add is each post has to have more than 10 upvotes. So this way it gives us, a sort of idea that a particular post, if it has any problem or pain point, and if it has received any upvotes, it means it is very common pain point amongst the audience, right? So you can always increase the number of upvotes here, that is according to your liking, if you want to make the check very strict, right? And then you can see the output here. Now we've received 8 items, right, out of 15. 8 were passed. And then we have the update Google Sheets node here. Again, we're going to go to the same Google Sheets, albeit in a different tab here. So you can see I have already ensured that the posts that we are scraping are uploaded here, right? So this is just to help you understand if the workflow is running really well. Okay, so just match the values here. Post will be the post, then the post link will be the post URL here, and the upvotes will be the upvotes field, right? And that's it. You're just good to go. The operation should be up and row, right? And then we have the post analysis. Now we're using the GPT 4.1 model here, and the operation will be messenger model, and the resource will be text. So in the input section, we are going to give it post link, and upvotes, a very simple input. And in the system prompt, this is exactly what it does. You are a Reddit post analysis whose job is to analyze Reddit posts and create a detailed analysis for each post. The Reddit post is essential because the report you create will be further used to create content angles. So this kind of tells you the gist of what exactly this AI agent is doing. It will just create a report for each post, and this report will then further be used to create content angles, right? It is a very simple prompt, simple, succinct, and it just has only one output field here, that is analysis. Once this is done, we go to the Reddit angle generator. This is exactly where it will use this analysis for each post and generate ideas out of that, you see. So here we go. This is the main prompt, right? The main idea is to generate 3 high converting content angles per selected idea, and that should be matching the ideal consumer profile that is given in the prompt. So you can always replace this ICP according to your requirements, and rest else is pretty much the same. So also make sure that you are doing the simplify output as checked on. And then the options here, again, I've added these parameters, so you can skip them or add them. It's completely up to you. And the next we have is the create Reddit angles report, right? So again, we're using the GPT 4.1 model, and as we saw in the previous workflows, this will create a report out of all the content angles. So you can see report will be the field value name, and content is what you have to drag and drop here. Also simplify output and output content as JSON should be clicked on, and then we move on to the next node. So the next nodes are pretty much similar, right? Okay, so we're done with the create Reddit angles report, and now we have got 8 outputs. And then again, these 4 nodes are tasked with creating a Google Doc for each report that needs to be generated, right? So we can see at the end we have 8 items, which means 8 reports have been generated, one report for each post that was selected. Right. The only change here will be in the set fields node. You just have to change the document name so that there's no confusion, and rest everything else will be the same. So let's go to the knowledge base, and you can see here there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 reports generated, right? So let's check how these reports look. And yes, they're pretty much similar in terms of the formatting. They're really well formatted and plus really well researched as well. So that's pretty much it. This concludes the social listening workflow, and you can directly use any ideas from here to create reels for your Instagram audience. All right, so now we are here to the last part of this entire Instagram parasite system research agent, and this is the industrial keyword research workflow. So I'll just give you a gist of what this does. It will take breakout keywords that are trending on the web search from Google Trends and use them as a base reference to create content angle ideas for your Instagram audience, right? So let's begin. Click on the execute workflow here, and this pops up the main submission form again. And for the trends research here, you just have to enter the broad keyword of your industry. Let's say I'll add fashion here, and then I click on submit. Right, so the form has been submitted and now it has started. Now this is called the SERP API node, so you can get it here. Right, this is the node here, SERP API, and you'll also need to create a credential for this SERP API node, and it's pretty easy. Just go to this section here, and you can always go to open docs and just follow all the instructions that are mentioned here specifically for Google Trends. Right, I'll just show you. Yes, the Google Trends API. So you just have to follow all the instructions here and they're good to go. Right, coming back to the node, the resource should be search, operation should be Google Trends, and the search query is trends research. Right, this is the query that we entered in the submission form, so just drag and drop it here. And now these are the main additional fields that you need to know about. The location should be the country that you're targeting, so I've targeted the United States. The data type should be related queries. So related queries means these are the queries that we get in Google Trends, so it will be scraping these queries, right? And then comes the time zone here. 420 means specific daytime, and if you want to change the time zone, you'll need to enter the main key here. So just copy this link and open it in a new tab, and then you can see from here the time zones are already given. So yes, TZ means time zones, and you can select any one of these and enter it in this particular field. Right, the property will be web search because we want to search exactly what keywords people are typing in Google, right? And the output should be JSON. So next we move to the query selection node, and the main aim of this query selection AI agent is to select n number of queries from all the total queries that have been scraped by the Google SERP API. So you see, when you go to Google here, there are many queries that will be scraped. You see showing 1 to 5 out of 25 queries, right? So there's like almost 25 queries, and we don't need all of them. So what we are going to do here in our workflow is we'll ask this agent to select exactly 5 queries that are topically diverse. By topically diverse, I mean, you can just see here. Now let's say you consider mango fashion brand and then mango fashion. So these are two different keywords, but they are pretty much similar in meaning, right? So there's no point in scraping both of these. We just need one out of these two, right? So we have instructed the agent here to be topically diverse in selection, meaning it will select only one keyword, only one search query if there are multiple search queries with the same meaning, right? So that's how it will work. It will select exactly 5 queries like that are completely different in nature, and this is how the entire AI agent prompt looks like. You can just copy and paste it directly. We are using 4.1 mini as the model here, with resources text and operation as messenger model. Simplify output and output content as JSON. These two buttons should be switched on, and then we're good to go. Now you can look at the output here. The way we have received it is we have received all these outputs, all these selections under one data field, that is selection, right? So that's precisely, when you look here, we've received only one item, even though there were multiple queries that were scraped, right? There were 5 queries that were scraped, and yet we've received only one item. So now we need to split it out, and that's precisely why we use using the split out node. So just take this selection data field and drag and drop it here, and you're good to go. And now when you run that, you will see all the 5 items here, as you can see here, right? All the items have been now separated, all the queries have now been separated. So the next is the edit fields node, and the reason we are using this here is you can see the values that we've received. It contains these symbols plus and percentage, and we need to remove that, right? So when it comes to value here, we have chosen the name extracted value, and then we've used this particular JSON code so that in the output we don't have these plus and percentage signs, as you can see here. The reason being, when we go to the next node, that is the update trends sheet, this is how this trends sheet looks like. So when you see this, right, if you try to scrape all those values as they are with the plus and the percentage signs, it creates an error here, and that's precisely why we need to remove those symbols. Okay, going back to the update trends sheet, so this is pretty much self-explanatory. Just match the values according to the sheet: query, percent increase, link, and source. And we have JSON query, then we have the extracted value in percent increase, and the link, right? And source will be here. So that's how this node looks like. And once you get all these queries, you can always check exactly what sort of queries were selected. And this is just, again, for the purpose of analysis, to ensure that your AI agent is actually doing what it does. The main job of the AI agent was to select 5 topically diverse ideas, and you can see we have already selected that. I mean, the agent has already selected that. Next, we have the trends angle generator, right? So the main aim of this generator is to create the content angles, as we've seen in the previous workflows as well. And the way this works is it will create 5 unique content angles around each query that it has scraped. So we've got five queries, and for each of them it will create 5 content angles, which means you're getting 25 content angles at the end, right? And always remember to replace your ICP here, the ideal consumer profile, otherwise you might not get a very good output, right? Simplify output should be switched on here, but do not switch on this one. Options, again, here I've used these values. If you want, you can use them, or you can skip them as well. We've used GPT 4.1 mini. In fact, I would suggest you guys to use this, especially for this particular node, because all these values will ensure that the agent is more creative and not just analytical. Because now we have to create angles and think creatively. We have to make the agent think creatively. So it's a better choice to add these values, right? Now we will use the aggregate node to sort of collate all the angles in one single data field output. So you can see all these angles have been created, right? Next, we have the create trends research report. Again, this will create the research report out of each of these content fields, right? You can only see total 5 fields under this, because under each of these there are 5 content angles, right? So that way it makes 25. And then we have simplify output and output content as JSON switched on. The system prompt looks like this. It's pretty much simple, just similar to what we saw in the previous workflows. And then again, these 4 nodes will create the report, right? Yeah, so we can see the trends angle research here. This is how it looks, very well formatted, and there will be total 25 angles. I'll just show you. So yeah, total 25 angles, and There's also a relevance score to help you understand if this particular angle will really work well for your audience, and then you can choose any of these angles based on these relevance scores and create content as you like. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's the end of the workflow. I hope you guys loved how this workflow works, and if you like it, just subscribe to the channel, because I'll be bringing the next part of this workflow, which is using these content angles to create Instagram's reel scripts that you can directly use in your content strategy, right? So that's pretty much it for the day. Thank you, and meet you in the next video. Bye.